everyone. My name is Vishal Singh and I'll be teaching you chess today. So in the previous class, we learned about what a check is and how to evade it. So a quick revision, I told you about the CPR, right? Capturing, protecting, and running away. So that is what we had learned in the previous class. Today we'll be learning about what a stalemate is and how you should always avoid a stalemate, because if you do a stalemate is basically a draw. So always know how to not end a game into making it a stalemate. All right. So I'll be sharing my screen now. Yeah. So this is just a second. Okay. So as you can see, the king, the AME king, cannot move in the B file at all because the rook is blocking its way. Now it has a place to go over here, but if I bring my rook over here and my bishop over to e3, the king has no place to go. Now, what a checkmate was, I told you in the previous class, was if your king has no place to run and it is under direct check, that is a checkmate. Now, the king has no place to run, but it is not under check directly by any of my pieces. So this is called a stalemate because the enemy has no other pieces left on the board and the king cannot move at all to any other block nearby. So this is what a stalemate is called. All right. Now now let's go to the next example. See, now the king has another piece on the board. I'll explain. If I play my knight to f4, this is again a stalemate. I'll tell you why. The knight at e6 is occupying these two blocks. My knight at f4 is occupying these blocks. So the king cannot move to any of these four boxes. And the extra piece that the king has, can only move forward. Because that piece can only move forward, it cannot move to any other place. It is again a stalemate. Suppose if this was a rook, and the rook can move around freely, it wouldn't have been a stalemate. All right, if the king has any other piece on the board that which is free to move, it would not have been a stalemate because the king is not directly under checked by any of my pieces. It's all right for it to move any of its own other pieces. You got what I'm saying? Okay. So let's move on to the next one. Yeah. Now under this is a little tricky, but guess where I have to play. You can pause the video if you want and come back. So my move is going to be knight to g6. Now see, the king had one, two, three, four, and five places to move, but it cannot move to any of the places because I'll explain. The rook is covering the d file entirely. It cannot move to d8 and d7 at all. The knight is occupying e7 and f8 because the knight, that is how the knight moves. So it cannot move. The king cannot move to e7 and f8 at all. And the only place left is this, which was taken by the bishop. So it cannot move to any of the places around it. So see why it is stalemate, because it is not directly under check by any of my pieces, and no other piece of the black king can move because all of them are pawn. All of them can only move in a straight line ahead, and they cannot possibly move because my pieces are blocking their way, and the king cannot move to any of the places. So this is what a stalemate is called. This is how a stalemate happens. Now again, this is a little tricky one. So all I have to do is play my rook to b8. Now, now my rook is, has all of the control over the eighth rank. The king cannot move at all to these places. Now, you might be wondering, it still has knight. Knight can move around, over here. It has so many blocks to move around. So what is the issue? The problem is my bishop is actually targeting the king from d3. If the knight is out of the way, it would be an illegal move. So remember how I told you in the previous video, you cannot bring your king into the check itself. That would be an illegal move. Now the remaining two pieces of the enemy would be pawn, which again move in a straight line ahead and the way is being blocked. So this is again a stalemate. Now remember, always avoid a stalemate because you do not want to, bring the game into a draw. You want to win the game. So always avoid a stalemate. Unless you want to lose. If you're on the losing end of the game, you realize if you're on the losing end of the game, you try to bring the game into a stalemate. If you're on the winning end of the game, always avoid the stalemate. So let's move to the next one. Okay. Now, if now see how a stalemate is done. The rook is entirely occupying the 8th rank. The king cannot move to any of these 3 blocks. It cannot move to c7 also because my pawn is occupying that block. It also cannot move to uh, b6 because my king is occupying that block. But why is it not a stalemate yet? Because it has a rook which is able to move freely. It's not like the enemy, the black king has no other pieces to move around. So it is not a stalemate. While the pawns, this piece can also move, but remember my bishop is targeting the king, so this would be an illegal move. So the pawn at c6 also cannot move. So all of these pieces cannot move even a block, and the rook is the only one that is able to move. If I take out the rook right now at the moment, it would be a stalemate. See, the king cannot move to any of these places, and the pawns cannot move ahead at all. Understood? Very simple. So now that the concept of the stalemate is clear, we can head on to castling. All right, so this is about how you save your king. Castling is basically forming a castle around your king to save it from all the attacks that might come in the mid game or the end game. So what basically is it? Now the king can only move 1 block at a time. I've told you this multiple times from the first video. But while the king is trying to castle, that is the only time the king can move 2 blocks at a time. Okay. So there are 2 types of castle. One, there's a long castle and there's a short castle. The one on the right hand, the one that I'll be showing you right now, will be a short castle. There's also castling done towards the left side. Now what happens is in the castling is where your king moves inside 2 blocks to the right in the short castle, and your rook moves 2 blocks out to f1. All right, I'll show you. Now in this one, when I moved my king over here, it's completely, just a second, it was completely saved by all of these pieces. There's nothing that can directly give a check to our king or give a threat to our king directly. Now this is a long castle. In this one, there were only 3 boxes available. In this one, there are 4 boxes available. Now remember, even if there are 4 boxes available, the king will only move 2. All right, so that doesn't mean the king will go to b1. The king will only go to c1. Let me show you. See? This is how you castle on the left side. Now, in order to castle, you have to make sure that its way, the path that the king will castle is completely free. There should be nothing in between. So you see here, the knight is blocking the way for the castling. So you get the knight out of the way, and then you complete the castle. Okay. Now, so this is the completely starting position of the game. Now, suppose you want to, do the castling, keep your king safe in the first stages only. So how do you do that? The simplest way would be to move your pawn to e4, get your bishop out to e2 or something. Then you play your knight to f3. All right. This is the simplest way I've showed you. There are better ways to do the castling and set up your pieces at the same time. This being the most simple one. Now that the path is completely free, then you can complete the castle. All right. So now, if you want to castle to the left side, what will you do then? I showed you how to do a short castle in the starting phase of the game. Now I'll show you how to do it on the left side. Now, previously I moved the pawn that was in front of the king. This time you move the pawn that is in front of the queen. So you play pawn to d4 instead of playing pawn to e4 like I showed you in the previous example. Then you get your queen out of the way. Then you play your, then you move your bishop out of the way, and obviously knight out of the way as well, and then you castle. See, very simple. Yeah. Now remember the basic rule of castling. You can only castle if your king has not moved even once. All right. If your king has moved once before, it you can no longer do the castle. Same goes for the rook. I am not able to castle on the right side because the rook has moved from its original position. All right, the pieces are supposed to be at their original position and they should not have been moved at all. So the only way I can castle now is castle to the left side because these two have stayed in their original position. All right, I cannot castle to the right side in this example. See, simple. Now, if suppose if your path is being the path of your castle is being uh, targeted, right? You cannot do, you cannot do the castle. You have to get out of the get that piece out of the way that is targeting your castle path, or have to protect that path. So by protecting the path, only then I can castle. If there's anything, there's any of the enemy pieces that are blocking your way, you cannot do the castle. Simple. Now, in this, pause the video, think what is, blocking the way for the castling, and then come back. The most simple thing that is I can see is the knight. Why? Knight can move in an L pattern. Now, this is blocking our way. So you get rid of the knight first. You play bishop to h3. Now the path is completely free and it is not being targeted by any of the enemy pieces. So that is how you castle. Yeah. Now this is a lot. This is very tricky because the knight, as you can see, is blocking the path. The white bishop is also blocking the path. The black bishop as well is blocking the path. So what do you do in a situation like this? How do you want to do the castle? You want to save your king, but there are too many pieces, too many variables. So you have to get rid of all of them in order to castle your king and safeguard your king. So you get rid. Well, these are all. I remember these are all examples, and the opponent will also get to play a move. So it's not as easy as I'm showing it to you. This is just to make you understand. Because after every move I do, your opponent gets a chance as well. In this is just an example and setup. So I'm playing just my moves. So it is not going to be as easy as I'm showing it right now. So you get rid of the knight first. Okay, then you have to block the path of the black bishop. So how do you block the path of the black bishop? You'll have to use your knight again because if you move your king and your rook out of the way, you cannot castle anymore. Remember? So you play knight to b3, come back to the original position and play knight to d2. So now you have finally blocked the path of the bishop, but there's still a variable that that is hindering the path. So the white bishop is still attack blocking the path. So you have to play pawn to f3. Now you might be wondering why can't the white bishop just scale up pawn away? Because the knight is protecting our pawn, so that's completely fine. Now that the path is completely free and empty, now you can do the castle. All right. All right. So that was all about today's class. So I taught you what stalemate is and why you should always avoid a stalemate if you're on the winning end of the game, and always try to bring the game into a stalemate if you're on the losing end of the game, because nobody likes to lose, honestly. And I also taught you about castling. So I've taught you long castle, I taught you short castle, and when can you castle. If your king and if your king and your rook has been moved from the original position even once, you can no longer castle. If there's an enemy piece that is blocking your path of for the castling, you cannot castle. All right, that was all about today's class, and I'll be teaching you more about the movement of the pieces that I've already told you, but this time I'll be teaching you with in live game examples. So that would be a lot of fun. So the real fun is about to begin, I think. So that was all for today. See you in the next class. Hope you're doing good. Have a nice day. Thank you.